There, I'm Scott from Buy the Brush Miniatures, and today I'm going to show you how you can start collecting Idoneth Deepkin. Of course, as usual, the very first thing that you're going to need is the battle tome. This has all your rules. Nobody's going to argue with you if you have the rules. You need the rules. You have the rules, you've got the army, pretty much. Now, I want to talk to you about the start collecting set, because I think in this scenario, at least the current start collecting set that you can get as of now, is definitely a great place to start. So if you get yourself the start collecting set, this is what you'll end up with. You have an Isharan Soul Render, you have a unit of Namati Thralls. You actually get 10 of these, I should note, so you will have 10 of these. I've only got 5 here, just so you can get a better visual. And then over here you have 3 Achelian Guard, and you should definitely build these as a Morsar command group. So these are all Morsar Guard, and this is a command group. So I've got the Locayan Prince, the Standard Bearer, and the Musician. This is a great place to start. You can already play a 500 point game, I think, with this, because you've got yourself one leader and one battle line, and then you've got just another, and that should be about enough to get started with that. And then the next thing you're going to want to get is an Achelian King. And the reason for this is when you get an Achelian King, this is going to make the Morsar Guard that you've got battle line. So you now have 2 battle lines, so you can start actually entering 1000 point games. Obviously, you don't really have that much to really play a full 1000 point list, but given some points modifiers, you know, minus 250 points, maybe spend some on command points, then you can actually play a game. So from here, you've got a good force. You've got your general being an Achelian King or Isharan, but generally your general is going to be the Achelian King, so that these two can be your battle line. And the next thing you're going to want to get is, in my opinion, you're going to want to get Reavers. These here, you will get 10 of them again. You get a box and you'll get 10 inside. But again, just for the visual, I'm just showing you 5. I really enjoy playing with Reavers. They give you another option to have 2 battle line, because if the Isharan is your general, then you can take the Reavers and the Thralls as battle line. But if the Achelian is your general, then you can take the Morsar Guard and the Thralls as your battle line. But either way, these can be still included in both armies. It's just they are going to be obviously in the other force organization slot. Reavers are really fun because they're not like every other army's sort of ranged unit where it's, you know, you've got a standard archer unit. These are more of a hybrid. They're very fast. They're a lot faster than the Thralls. They move 8 inches. They're good for quickly securing objectives while the Thralls sort of make their way over and collect it. The Reavers are not horrible in close combat. They have their daggers that they can use in addition to their bows, but if they use their bows in less than 9 inches, they get 3 shots with it. And in a squad of a unit of 10, that is 30 shots, and that is absolutely mental, and it just destroys the horde units, and they're definitely a very substantial force. It's just a good thing to have in your army is a unit of Reavers, which is why I've included them as the next thing. Now after that, the Achelians are going to begin feeling a bit lonely, so I recommend getting some more Achelian Guard, only this time opt in for an Ishlain Guard command group. Now the reason I've opted for Ishlain Guard is because now you've got just 2 separate units and you've got 2 command groups. This unit is going to be better for not dying, because that's what Ishlain Guard are good at. They ignore all rend, they get a 3+ armor save if they charged, whereas the Achelian, the Morsar Guard, they're just very powerful if they charge. I think they get -2 rend and extra damage if they charge, and then they've also got their biovoltaic blasts, which they can use once per game to deal mortal wounds. After this now, you've got the option to have 3 battle line if your general is the Achelian King, but if you want to go for the Isharan route, you can actually get just another unit of Namati Thralls just here. Again, 10, not 5, that's just for the visual once again. This is good because it means that you have 2 battle line no matter what situation you're in, and if you have an Isharan general, you've now got 3 because you've got your Reavers, and then if you have an Achelian general, you've actually got 4 options for battle line because you've got your Morsar and your Ishlain Guard. Another thing now I want to look into is some of the heroes, because personally I think the heroes, they each have a very specific and unique purpose. The Soul Render here is very good because he can basically revive Namarti if they're in the Battle Shock phase. You can revive fallen Namarti. The Achelian King makes all your Achelians reroll ones to hit, just like a Space Marine Captain, for example. The Isharan Tidecaster is the only wizard in the army, and that's why I recommend getting one of them next, because the magic that the Idoneth Deepkin can use is actually very, very powerful, and I think it's just a really good way to use that. And you don't need to go over the top, it's just grab the one, and I think that's probably enough, especially when you're just starting out. On the note of heroes, I would then recommend getting an Isharan Soul Scryer, and this is great because it means that you can get one of your Namarti Thrall units. Definitely recommend the Thralls, not the Reavers, because the Reavers are just already quite fast. And then you can deploy them as if it's strategic reserves from like Warhammer 40k. And you would deploy the Soul Render and the Namarti Thralls all together on one battlefield edge, and that gives you the opportunity to actually move towards an objective that you wouldn't actually have the ability to move towards so quickly. Do that in the second turn, and then before you know it, your enemy's actually surrounded. And it's just a really great way to just add to that whole Deepkin feel of the army as well. Just, you know, you've got units just coming in out of nowhere, and nobody, like the enemy are all phased and by the Eversea and what have you. But yeah, so that's just a really great way to start. So the next thing I recommend you get is just more of these. You want to get 3 more Morsar Guard and 3 more Ishling Guard to have 2 6-strong units of Achelian Guard. Don't make them command, obviously, because you've already got the command. You just want to fill out the unit to have 2 units of 6. Then after that, I would recommend you get 1 or 2 Achelian Alapexes, because these are just a really good... They sort of make a nice centerpiece to the army as well. They basically just fill in that gap that the Deepkin don't seem to have. They haven't got a lot of big sort of monsters, and the Alapexes just kind of substitute in there for that. And, you know, they can just look cool in the army, but regardless, they're all right. They're quite decent. Just get yourself 1 or 2 of them if you fancy. As I said, this is a good starting point, but you just need to work your way to get to that 2,000 points of Idoneth Deepkin, and the Alapexes are just a great way to flesh out. And then, obviously, if you want, there's the option of a Leviathan, but I'm not recommending that for beginning. It's just too expensive. So on that note, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please support the channel by subscribing or clicking the link in the description to our Patreon, where you can support us for a small amount of money per month. And that's all I have to say for today. Thank you for the view, and I will see you later.